Hey, welcome back to Midas Letter Live. You'll never guess who I have here today. It's Rob Hill. He's the CFO from Emerald Health Therapeutics, trading on the TSX Venture under the symbol EMH. Rob, welcome.
Thank you, James.
It's our first time meeting and talking.
It is.
And I'm looking at your wonderful chart, and clearly you have not only ridden the rising tide, but captured the rising tide, captured a wave, I would say, and the stock price looks like it's gone up by like 33% in the last 3 sessions. What is driving that?
Well, I think it's a number of factors, but certainly the deal announced last week with Constellation making a big play into the space. I mean, everybody's benefiting a little bit from that. And I think it's just drawing attention to the space among other people. And so when they get to know Emerald and see what we're trying to do and how to differentiate, I think they like the story.
And it's always tough for me to keep track of what all of the different growers are doing. Emerald is not in that category, however, because you have that incredible relationship with the big greenhouse guys.
Village Farms.
Village Farms, right, who have a 5 million square foot greenhouse, of which you guys are 1 million square feet now in a joint venture.
That's right. We put together Pure Sunfarms, which is a joint venture between one of the continent's greatest and biggest growers of vegetables primarily, and tomatoes specifically in that location. They've been there for 20 years, 30 years altogether, but in Delta for 20 years. And they really know how to grow on that kind of scale. And so we combined that expertise with our cannabis expertise. We've been growing in a smaller facility in Victoria for a number of years. And we've got expertise not only in cannabis itself, but navigating the Health Canada pathways. So we know how to get facilities like that licensed. And so it's a match made in heaven, and we're really excited about that.
And it is now fully licensed?
Not quite. It's got a sales license, and we have roughly a quarter of the facility licensed for cultivation, and it's all under cultivation. And we anticipate the other 3/4 will be, and it goes sort of phase by phase, but throughout the remainder of this year, and we expect it all to be ready to go.
Well, we'll have to bring out our camera crew and shoot that. That sounds like
it's very exciting. Yeah,
visually stunning.
Yeah,
and this group, this is not their only operation in the growing of vegetables in greenhouses. Don't they have operations around the world?
Yes, around the continent. They've got a big site in Texas and as well, I think, in eastern Canada as well. So I think it's the 3 main sites that they've got.
So is it safe to infer that if things go well in this Delta first phase partnership, that this could spread to U.S. locations pending deprohibition?
Yeah, well, that's the big key, right? So is it, we really do not want to go into the U.S. in cannabis until we know it's safe to do so, really. And by that I mean it's federally legal, because it's a big deal for Canadian companies that want to do anything in the U.S. If they touch the plant south of the border, it changes the whole risk profile of a company. Not to say a lot of our competitors are doing that, and it's great, but it's just not something that we foresee doing.
Sure.
And remember, we've got more space in Delta itself. We're only on 1.1 million out of the 4.7 million total. So.
Right. Okay, and what's your distribution profile look like at this point?
Well, right now it's all, of course, only through the medical channel. That's an online distribution. We have patients that order online, and we distribute via courier. Of course, everyone's looking ahead to October 17th when things get really interesting and it becomes legal recreationally. And so now it's a matter of doing deals with the various provinces. And so we just announced a few weeks ago a nice deal with BC that we're very happy about. I think we negotiated a very smart and a sizable deal for us. And then we are in discussions with a number of other provinces and trying to finalize those. But we're really happy with the progress that we're making to get good deals, good quality deals that make sense for us financially.
Sure. So what is the sort of 12, 24-month, 36-month developmental timeline look like for Emerald?
Yeah, good question. Things change really quickly, and even since late last year when I joined the company, I think everybody was looking at big greenhouses were really important, and they continue to be important source of supply for us. But since then, we've heard the government's come out and said outdoor growing of cannabis and hemp is now entering into the play as far as being a source for cannabinoids. So that gets everyone thinking about how we're going to source the product. But we're also focused on really trying to differentiate and create intellectual property and patents to help us create and bring to market high value add products that will continue to maintain high selling price for these products.
Sure, so like life sciences products?
Exactly, and the company has a very strong background in terms of personnel who are natural doctors, medical doctors, PhDs.
Sure, who's the chairman of the Emerald Health that is not the Emerald Health Therapeutics that's listed in the U.S.?
Yeah, his name is Avtar Dillon. He's a medical doctor. He's from BC.
He's been our guest.
He's a very interesting guy, and he's a really a thought leader in the industry. He's also chairman of the C3, the Canadian Cannabis Coalition. So he's very well respected in the industry, and he's really been a big part of setting the direction for Emerald Health Therapeutics.
Sure. So I recall that the conversations I've had with various members of your team that, I mean, one of the key differentiators in Emerald Health is that life sciences, large sort of pharma background, which gives you an insider's sort of participation in developing cannabinoid-derived new drugs. And so, you know, when we saw that the FDA licensed that epilepsy drug, Epileptrol.
Right, GW Pharma got that.
GW Pharma. So is it the intention of Emerald Health to sort of try to get drugs like that licensed as well?
Well, I think so. That's a very long and arduous process, an expensive process, but I think it's, you know, potentially worthwhile to shoot for that. But I think in between here and there, there's a lot of work that we can do, studies, animal studies, human studies, that get us important data and help us develop unique and innovative products that can be sold off-label by or recommended by physicians and naturopathic doctors. So I think that's the real focus right now, and we have a tremendous amount of expertise, as you mentioned, including Dr. Dillon, but also our CEO, who we hired last year, who in fact brought me on shortly after he started. But he has a lot of experience working for big pharma in bringing drugs to market. So he's really done a great job of charting a path for us, and we're going to follow that.
Fantastic. You have all kinds of things sort of going on simultaneously, as do a lot of these companies. Do you have, I haven't seen anything that necessarily points to a European strategy at this point.
No, good question. You know, and we definitely see ourselves expanding internationally. Canada is a great market, but it's only a very small part of the global market. And the long term for us, we plan on being a major cannabis player globally. And but right now our focus is domestic, and it is in Canada. There's a lot of work to be done internally and just to really establish ourselves in the Canadian market. But I get contacted regularly by people in Europe that are very interested in our product and looking for distribution, supply agreements into those markets. The margins are good there. We like it, and it's certainly on our radar.
Interesting. The advent of the recreational market in October, do you have a whole different brand strategy for that lined up, or is that something you're in progress on?
Yeah, it's being developed. We've actually partnered with a great ad agency here, DDB. I think when we've been working with them for a few months, we have a very strong internal team that we're building, and so the combination of the two, they're working on branding and working on and the scope of what they're getting into is enormous. And they're doing it at light speed. It's incredible how hard these poor people are having to work. But it's all about getting Emerald ready to be properly positioned, both in doctors' offices and pharmacies to expand that sort of medical side of things, but also to prepare us for when the doors fly open on October 17th.
You're going to be there too. Well, that's great. Okay, Rob, let's leave it there for now. We'll come back to you in due course and have a follow-up conversation. Thanks for joining me today.
Good, thanks, James.